CEO has never liked anyone, but he falls in love at first sight with a girl rushing to the elevator. The moment Kai Langford saw the woman sprint past the security detail with coffee-stained scrubs and determination blazing in her eyes, his carefully constructed world of logic and control shattered into a million irrelevant pieces. Kai Langford didn't believe in love at first sight. He didn't believe in love at all, actually. At 32, he'd built Langford Technologies into a multi-billion-dollar empire through cold calculation, strategic thinking, and absolute refusal to let emotions cloud his judgment. Romance was for people who had time to waste. Kai Langford had companies to acquire and markets to dominate, which was why, on this particular Tuesday morning, he was annoyed to find himself waiting for an elevator. His private elevator was under maintenance. Something about a malfunction that his facilities manager had stammered about over the phone at 6 a.m. So here he stood, Kai Langford, CEO and founder of one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the world, waiting with common employees for a common elevator in the lobby of his own building. His security detail, two men who looked like they ate nails for breakfast, flanked him silently. Other employees gave him a wide berth, their conversations dying to whispers as they recognized him. Kai was used to this. He preferred it, actually. Distance was power. The elevator dinged, doors sliding open. Kai moved forward with the security team, ready to claim the space as his own. Wait! Hold the elevator. The voice cut to the lobby like a siren, desperate, breathless, utterly chaotic. Kai's hand moved automatically to the door close button, his morning already disrupted enough without some tardy employee making it worse. But then he saw her. She was running, actually sprinting, through the marble lobby in what appeared to be medical scrubs covered in coffee stains. Her dark hair had escaped whatever attempt she'd made to contain it, flying behind her like a banner. She carried a messenger bag that bounced against her hip, and her sneakers squeaked against the polished floor as she took a corner too fast and nearly collided with a potted plant. She was a disaster. She was chaos personified. She was completely inappropriate for a corporate environment. She was the most beautiful thing Kai had ever seen. Time seemed to slow as she ran toward him. He watched the determination in her face, the way her hazel eyes fixed on the elevator with single-minded focus. He saw the flush in her cheeks, the way her chest heaved with exertion, the coffee stain on her scrubs shaped vaguely like Italy, and something in Kai's chest, something he thought had atrophied years ago from disuse, lurched to life. His finger, which had been moving toward the close button, shifted trajectory. He hit the open door button instead, holding the elevator as she skidded to a stop in front of him. "Thank you," she gasped, stumbling into the elevator. She was breathing hard, and Kai caught the scent of vanilla and coffee and something uniquely her. "Thank you so much. I'm so late. My shift ended an hour ago, but there was an emergency, and then I spilled coffee on myself, and my car wouldn't start, so I had to take 2 buses, and—" She stopped mid-ramble, finally looking up at who had held the elevator for her. Her eyes widened as she took in Kai's $1,000 suit, his security detail, the way every other person in the elevator had pressed themselves against the walls to give him space. "Oh my God," she breathed. "You're Kai Langford." "I am," he heard himself say, his voice rougher than usual. He couldn't stop staring at her. Up close, she was even more captivating. Freckles scattered across her nose, a small scar on her chin, eyes that shifted between green and gold depending on the light. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I should have." She looked around at the other passengers, registering the atmosphere for the first time. "I can wait for the next one." "Stay." The word came out more command than request. Kai's security detail shifted, surprised. He never engaged with employees. Never. The woman blinked at him, clearly uncertain. "I need to go to the 15th floor. The medical center. I'm a nurse practitioner in the employee health clinic." "Then you're exactly where you need to be." Kai pressed a button for 15, then for the top floor, his office on the 60th. The doors closed, sealing them all in together. The elevator began its ascent, and silence fell. Kai was acutely aware of the woman standing 3 feet away from him, trying to catch her breath and discreetly fix her hair. She'd given up on the coffee stains, but she kept glancing down at them with a grimace. "I'm Maya." she said suddenly, looking at him again. Maya Santos. I've worked here for about 3 months. In the health clinic. I know. The words escaped before Kai could stop them. He didn't know, actually. He had 12,000 employees. He couldn't possibly know all their names. But he wanted to know hers. Wanted to know everything about her. Maya's eyebrows rose. You know who I am? I make it my business to know my employees. Kai lied smoothly. Around him, his security detail and the other elevator occupants radiated confusion. This was so far outside Kai's normal behavior it might as well have been on another planet. Oh, well, that's thorough. Maya shifted her bag to her other shoulder. I'm sorry about the coffee stains. And the running. And basically everything about this interaction. I promise I'm normally more professional. You just came off a shift that ran an hour late because of an emergency. Kai said. Something was happening to his brain. He couldn't seem to stop talking to her. That's dedication, not unprofessionalism. The elevator stopped at the 10th floor. 3 people got off, leaving more space. Maya moved slightly closer to the corner, but Kai found himself shifting his position too, maintaining the distance between them. Still, I probably shouldn't have run to the lobby like I was being chased, Maya said with a self-deprecating smile that did strange things to Kai's chest. But I have a meeting with Dr. Reeves at 8, and if I'm late again, she's going to murder me. We're supposed to be discussing the flu shot program rollout, and I'm the one who organized the whole thing, so I really can't. She stopped biting her lip. I'm rambling. I do that when I'm nervous. Sorry. Don't apologize. Kai's voice was softer than he'd intended. The flu shot program is important. Employee health directly impacts productivity. That's one way to look at it, Maya said, and there was something in her tone, not quite criticism, but close. I prefer to think about it as keeping people healthy and safe. The productivity is just a bonus. Kai felt his lips twitch. Was he smiling? He didn't smile. Smiling was inefficient. Of course, he said. That's what I meant. The elevator stopped at 15. The doors opened, and Maya moved toward them. Then she paused, turning back to look at Kai. Thank you, she said, for holding the elevator, and for understanding about the scrubs. And she smiled, and it was like the sun coming out. For being nicer than I expected. The rumors about you are pretty terrifying. Before Kai could respond, before he could ask what rumors, or tell her she was welcome, or do any of the 100 things his suddenly malfunctioning brain wanted to do, she was gone, disappearing into the hallway with a wave. The elevator doors closed. The remaining passengers and security detail all very carefully avoided looking at Kai. Sir, one of his security guards finally ventured. Are you all right? Kai stared at the closed doors, his heart pounding in a way it never had before. He just had a 3-minute conversation with an employee, a nurse practitioner named Maya Santos who wore coffee-stained scrubs and had eyes that shifted colors and smiled like sunshine. And somewhere in those 3 minutes, Kai Langford, who had never believed in love, who had built his entire life on logic and control, had fallen completely, irrevocably, catastrophically in love. Cancel my 9 o'clock, he heard himself say, and give me everything we have on Maya Santos. Employee file, background, everything. Sir, that's highly. Kai turned to look at the security guard, and whatever expression was on his face made the man stop mid-sentence. Get me the file. Kai repeated, now. As the elevator continued its ascent, Kai tried to make sense of what had just happened. He'd spent 32 years building walls around himself, refusing to let anyone get close, convinced that emotions were weaknesses to be exploited. And then Maya Santos had run into his elevator with coffee-stained scrubs and a smile that made him forget his own name, and every single one of those walls had crumbled to dust. This was a problem. A massive, unprecedented, completely illogical problem. Kai Langford was a man who solved problems. He just had to figure out how to solve this one without destroying the only thing in his life that had ever felt. Right. Kai's office occupied the entire 60th floor, a glass-walled domain that looked out over the city like a throne room. Floor-to-ceiling windows on 3 sides, modern furniture in black and chrome, everything designed to intimidate and impress. He'd chosen this space deliberately. Height was power, and visibility was control. But today, for the first time in years, Kai barely noticed a view. He stood at his desk, staring at the file his assistant had placed there 10 minutes ago. Maya Santos's employee file. Everything the company had on her, all neatly compiled and ready for his review. He hadn't opened it yet. This was insane. He knew it was insane. He was the CEO. Yes, and technically he had the right to review any employee's file. But pulling someone's personal information because he'd had a brief elevator conversation with them? That crossed about 17 different ethical lines. Kai had never cared about ethical lines before. He cared about results, about growth, about winning. Ethics were for people who couldn't afford to play hardball. So why was he hesitating? Mr. Langford? His assistant Margaret's voice came through the intercom. Your 9:30 is here. The VP of Operations? Kai had forgotten he'd rescheduled his 9 o'clock rather than canceling it entirely. Send him in. The meeting was torture. Kai tried to focus on quarterly projections and supply chain optimizations, but his mind kept drifting back to coffee-stained scrubs and a smile that had punched through 32 years of emotional armor like it was tissue paper. What was wrong with him? He'd met attractive women before. He'd even dated a few of them, brief and transactional relationships that ended when they wanted more than he was willing to give. He'd never had trouble maintaining his distance, his focus. But Maya Santos had looked at it with those color-shifting eyes and said, "You're nicer than I expected." And something fundamental in Kai's carefully constructed world had shifted. "Sir, did you hear the question?" Kai blinked, focusing back on his VP of Operations. "Repeat it." The man looked nervous. "I was asking about your thoughts on the new warehouse configuration, the one we discussed last week." Kai had no memory of discussing any warehouse configuration. "Send me the details again. I'll review and get back to you." After the VP left, Kai finally opened Maya's file. Maya Santos, 28 years old, hired 3 months ago as a nurse practitioner for the employee health clinic. Bachelor's degree in nursing from State University, master's degree in nursing from a prestigious program on the East Coast. Previously worked at City General Hospital in the emergency department for 4 years. Kai read every word, absorbing details like he was studying a competitor. She was single. At least, her emergency contact was listed as her mother, not a spouse or partner. She lived in an apartment in the Mission District, about 30 minutes from the office. She negotiated her salary like a professional, asking for 15% more than the initial offer and settling at 10%. There were performance reviews from her first 3 months. All excellent. Her supervisor, Dr. Reeves, had noted that Maya had exceptional clinical skills and remarkable empathy with patients. She'd already proposed and implemented several improvements to the clinic's workflow, including the flu shot program she'd mentioned in the elevator. Kai studied her employee photo. It was a standard HR shot, taken on her first day. Maya wore scrubs and a professional smile, her hair pulled back neatly. It was nothing like the chaotic, coffee-stained woman he'd met that morning. But even in the sterile photo, he could see what had captured him. Something in her eyes, a warmth and intelligence that seemed to radiate even through the digital image. This was bad. This was very bad. Kai Langford didn't do relationships. He didn't do emotions. He'd learned that lesson early and well. His parents' marriage had been a corporate merger, loveless and strategic, ending in a divorce that had nearly destroyed the family business. His father had told him over and over, emotions are liabilities, attachment is weakness, love is a fairy tale that fools believe in. Kai had taken those lessons to heart. He'd built his entire life around them. And it had worked. He was successful, powerful, untouchable. Until Maya Santos ran into his elevator. "Margaret," he said into the intercom, "I need you to arrange something." "Of course, sir. What do you need?" Kai hesitated. This was another ethical line he was about to cross. "I want to schedule a health screening. Executive physical. Whatever the employee health clinic offers." There was a pause. "Sir, you just had your annual physical 2 months ago." "I want another one. Today, if possible." Another pause, longer this time. Margaret had been his assistant for 5 years. She knew him well enough to know when something was off. Is everything all right, Mr. Langford? Everything's fine. Just being proactive about my health. The lie tasted bitter. Can you arrange it? I'll see what I can do. Kai ended the call and returned to staring at Maya's file. This was stalking behavior. This was inappropriate. This was exactly the kind of emotional decision-making he'd spent his entire life avoiding. But he couldn't seem to stop. His phone buzzed. A text from Margaret. Clinic can see you at 2 p.m. for executive screening. Dr. Reeves will conduct the exam personally. Kai's stomach dropped. Not Dr. Reeves. He needed Maya. Ask if Maya Santos is available to conduct the screening instead. The response came quickly. Dr. Reeves is a senior practitioner. It's protocol for executives. Kai thought fast. I'm familiar with Miss Santos's work. I prefer her clinical approach. Another lie, adding to the pile. A longer pause this time. Then, I'll make the request. Kai set down his phone and closed Maya's file, guilt warring with anticipation in his chest. He was abusing his power. He was manufacturing reasons to see her. He was doing exactly what he'd always despised in other men, using his position to pursue personal interests. But the alternative, never seeing her again, letting her disappear into the 12,000 employees of his company, was somehow worse. His phone buzzed again. Miss Santos will conduct your screening at 2 p.m. Dr. Reeves approved the request. Relief and anxiety flooded through Kai in equal measure. He had 4 hours to figure out what he was going to say to Maya Santos. For hours to get control of this unprecedented emotional response. For hours to remember that he was Kai Langford, CEO, not some lovesick teenager with a crush. For hours to become someone who could be near Maya without his entire worldview crumbling. It wasn't nearly enough time. At 1:58 p.m., Kai stood outside the employee health clinic on the 15th floor, fighting the urge to turn around and leave. This was insane. This was beneath him. The door opened and Maya Santos emerged, now wearing clean scrubs in navy blue, her hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. She stopped short when she saw him, surprise flashing across her face. Mr. Langford? I didn't realize. She glanced down at her tablet. Oh, you're my 2 o'clock. The executive screening. I hope that's not a problem, Kai said, his voice coming out more formal than he'd intended. No, of course not. I'm just... She smiled, and once again, Kai felt like he'd been hit with a freight train. I'm just surprised. After this morning, I didn't think I'd see you again. Well, not like this. Not professionally. She gestured for him to follow her inside. The clinic was small but well-equipped, with examination rooms branching off a central waiting area. Maya led him to the first room, where she pulled up his chart on a computer. So, she said, her professional demeanor settling over her like a cloak. It says here you just had your annual physical 2 months ago. Everything was normal. Is there something specific you're concerned about? Kai sat on the examination table, feeling ridiculous in his suit. Just being proactive. Proactive. Maya's tone suggested she didn't quite believe him, but she didn't push. Okay, we'll do the standard screening, vitals, basic blood work, cardiovascular check. Should take about 45 minutes. Any questions before we start? Yes, Kai thought. Are you single? Do you feel this connection between us? Or am I losing my mind? Would you have dinner with me, even though I'm your boss and this is wildly inappropriate? No questions, he said aloud. Maya moved closer, wrapping a blood pressure cuff around his arm. Her fingers brushed his wrist, and Kai's pulse immediately jumped. He watched her face as she inflated the cuff, noting the small furrow of concentration between her eyebrows. Your blood pressure is elevated, she said, frowning at the reading. 140/90. That's borderline high. Have you been under unusual stress lately? You have no idea. Kai thought, work has been demanding. It's always demanding, according to your chart. You work 70 to 80 hours a week regularly. Maya made a note on her tablet. Do you exercise? I have a gym in my penthouse. I use it when I have time. Which is how often? Kai shifted uncomfortably. Once or twice a week. And your diet? I eat. Maya looked up at him, one eyebrow raised. That's not an answer, Mr. Langford. What do you typically eat in a day? Kai tried to remember what he'd eaten today. Coffee for breakfast. He'd skipped lunch because of back-to-back meetings. He'd probably order something later, or maybe just have coffee again. It varies. So you skip meals, work 80 hours a week, barely exercise, and you're wondering why your blood pressure's high? Maya's tone was gentle but firm. You're on track for a heart attack before you're 40. Something about her directness was refreshing. Most people were too intimidated to be honest with him. I appreciate your concern, but I'm perfectly capable of managing my own health. Are you? Because from where I'm standing, you're not managing it at all. Maya set down her tablet and looked at him directly. Look, I know you're the CEO. I know you're busy and important and probably have 1,000 people telling you yes all the time. But right now, I'm your healthcare provider, and I'm telling you that you're running yourself into the ground. That matters more than any quarterly report. Kai stared at her. No one talked to him like this. No one dared. And yet, hearing it from Maya, hearing the genuine concern in her voice, didn't make him angry. It made him feel cared for. When was the last time anyone had actually worried about his well-being instead of his bank account? You're right, he heard himself say. I've been neglecting my health. Maya's expression softened. I'm not trying to lecture you. I've seen what happens when successful people ignore their bodies. They end up in the ER at 3 a.m., wondering why their heart hurts. I'd rather prevent that than treat it. Noble profession, Kai said quietly. Someone has to care. She picked up her stethoscope. Now, let's listen to your heart. This might be cold. She pressed the stethoscope to his chest, and Kai stopped breathing. Not because of the temperature, but because Maya was close enough that he could see the tiny gold flecks in her hazel eyes, could smell her vanilla scent, could feel the warmth radiating from her body. His heart pounded so loudly, he was certain she could hear it even without the stethoscope. Your heart rate is elevated too, Maya murmured, moving the stethoscope to different positions. Are you feeling anxious? A little, Kai admitted. It wasn't a lie. Being this close to her was making him feel things he'd never experienced. Anticipation, nervousness, desire so intense it bordered on painful. The exam is routine. Nothing to worry about. She straightened, making notes. Heart sounds normal otherwise. Let's check your reflexes. The examination continued, Maya professional and thorough, Kai trying desperately to maintain his composure. Every time she touched him, checking his reflexes, palpating his abdomen, examining his eyes, he felt electricity shoot through his nervous system. This was torture. Beautiful, exquisite torture. All right, Maya said finally, stepping back. Physically, everything checks out except the blood pressure and heart rate. I'm going to recommend some lifestyle changes. More regular exercise, at least 30 minutes. 5 times a week. Better sleep schedule. And please, eat actual meals. Your body can't run on coffee and stress. Will you have dinner with me? The words escaped before Kai could stop them. He watched Maya's eyes widen in shock, watched her professional demeanor crack. I what? Dinner, Kai repeated, his heart pounding. In for a penny, in for a pound. You're concerned about my nutrition. You could help me choose healthier options. Consider it medical consultation. Maya stared at him like he'd grown a second head. Mr. Langford, I don't think that's... Kai, please. Kai, she corrected softly. That's not appropriate. You're my boss. Well, my boss's boss's boss. There are like 17 levels of hierarchy between us. Then we'll keep it professional. Just dinner. You can give me health advice. I'll eat something that isn't coffee. He was grasping at straws. He knew it, but he couldn't let her walk away. Not without trying. One dinner. Maya bit her lip, clearly torn. Why? Because this morning, you ran into my elevator, and you were the first genuine thing I've encountered in years. Kai said, honesty spilling out of him like water from a broken dam. Because you're not intimidated by me. Because you care more about my blood pressure than my quarterly earnings. Because I can't stop thinking about you, and I've tried, and I'm terrible at this. and I'm probably making everything worse right now, but I had to ask. Silence filled the examination room. Maya's face cycled through a dozen emotions: surprise, confusion, concern, and something else. Something that looked almost like hope. "This is crazy," she whispered. "I know. You're my boss. I know. I could lose my job." "You won't. I promise you won't." Kai slid off the examination table, standing close to her but not touching. "One dinner, Maya. If you hate it, if it's awkward, if you want nothing to do with me after, I'll never bring it up again. But please, give me a chance." Maya looked up at him, and Kai saw the moment she decided, saw the exact instant her resistance crumbled. "One dinner," she said, "somewhere public. Not fancy." And we split the check. Relief and joy flooded through Kai with such intensity, he felt lightheaded. "Agreed. When are you free?" "I work until 6 tonight. I'll pick you up at 7. Just tell me where." Maya shook her head. "I'll meet you there." "Les." She gestured between them. "Les everything. Tell me where." She considered for a moment, then smiled, that sunshine smile that started this whole thing. "There's a Thai place in the Mission District. Pad Thai Heaven. Best food in the city, nothing fancy, and they have amazing mango sticky rice. 7:30? I'll be there." Kai wanted to touch her, to take her hand, to do something to seal this moment, but he held back. "Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being honest, even if it was completely insane." Maya handed him a printed sheet. "Here are my official recommendations for your health: exercise, diet, stress management. Try to follow at least some of them before you actually have a heart attack." Kai took the sheet, their fingers brushing. Even that small contact sent sparks through his nervous system. "I'll follow all of them." "Sure you will." But Maya was smiling. Kai left the clinic feeling like he was walking on air. He had a date, an actual date with Maya Santos. It was just dinner, just a few hours, but it felt momentous. It felt like the beginning of something he'd never expected to want. His security detail was waiting in the hallway, carefully not commenting on how long the routine screening had taken. Kai ignored them, already thinking about tonight. Where would he change? His usual suits were too formal for a place called Pad Thai Heaven. Did he even own casual clothes? "Sir," one of his guards ventured. "Back to the office?" "No," Kai said. "Take me to Nordstrom. I need to buy jeans." If a security detail thought this was strange, they didn't comment. They'd already witnessed enough bizarre behavior from him today. As the elevator descended, Kai caught his reflection in the polished doors. He looked the same as always. Expensive suit, perfectly groomed, the cold CEO who trusted no one and felt nothing. But inside, everything had changed. Inside, he was a man who just asked a woman to dinner and had his offer accepted. A man who was already counting down the hours until 7:30. A man who, for the first time in his life, was falling in love. And he had no idea how to stop it. Worse, he didn't want to. Kai stood in his penthouse closet at 6:15, surrounded by $70,000 worth of designer suits and exactly zero casual clothing appropriate for a date at a Thai restaurant in the Mission District. This was a problem. "Margaret," he said into his phone, pacing. "I need your help." His assistant, who had been about to leave for the day, sighed. "What is it now, Mr. Langford?" "I need clothes. Casual clothes. Jeans, maybe. A normal shirt. Shoes that aren't Italian leather." There was a long pause. "Sir, have you been drinking?" "I'm completely sober. I need casual clothes. Now." It's 6:15 p.m. Stores are closing. "I don't care. Send someone. Buy something. I need to look." Kai struggled for the right word. Normal. Approachable. Like someone who eats pad thai regularly. Another pause. When Margaret spoke again, her voice had shifted from professional to curious. "Does this have anything to do with the sudden health screening you demanded this afternoon? With a specific nurse practitioner instead of Dr. Reeves?" Kai should have known Margaret would figure it out. She was too smart for her own good. "That's irrelevant." "It's completely relevant. You're going on a date." Margaret sounded delighted, Kai Langford is going on an actual date. I never thought I'd see the day. Are you going to help me or not? Oh, I'm helping. This is the most interesting thing that's happened in 5 years of working for you. He could hear her typing. Give me 20 minutes. I'll have someone at your door with options. And Mr. Langford? What? Try to smile. You look terrifying when you're nervous. She hung up. Kai stared at his phone, then at his reflection in the full-length mirror. Was he nervous? His heart was racing, his palms slightly sweaty. He negotiated billion-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, but the thought of dinner with Maya Santos had him pacing his closet like a caged animal. What was he thinking? He didn't date. He didn't do relationships. He'd been perfectly content with his solitary, work-focused existence until about 8 hours ago. But then he remembered Maya's smile, the way she looked at him with genuine concern, how she called him out without fear, how she'd made him feel, for just a moment, like he was someone worth caring about beyond his bank account and business acumen. He wanted more of that, more of her. His doorbell rang exactly 20 minutes later. A courier stood there with several shopping bags from Nordstrom. Margaret sent these, the courier said. She said to tell you that she sized you based on your suit measurements and that you owe her a raise. Kai tipped the courier generously and took the bags inside. Margaret had included options. 3 pairs of jeans in different washes, several button-down shirts in various colors, casual jackets, and even shoes, leather sneakers that somehow managed to look both expensive and understated. He tried on combinations, feeling ridiculous. The jeans felt strange after years of only wearing suit pants. The shirt seemed too casual. He looked like he was trying too hard, or not trying hard enough. He couldn't tell anymore. Finally, he settled on dark jeans, a navy button-down with the sleeves rolled up, and a gray jacket. The leather sneakers completed the look. He studied himself in the mirror. He looked different. Younger, somehow, more human. Less like a CEO and more like a person. Would Maya like it? Would she think he was trying too hard? His phone buzzed. A text from Margaret. Stop overthinking it. You look fine. Probably. I'm assuming you're trying things on and panicking. Just be yourself. Or, a friendlier version of yourself. Good luck. Kai smiled despite his anxiety. He sent back, You're getting that raise. At 7 o'clock, he headed out. His driver waited with the car. A sleek black sedan that probably cost more than most people's houses. The Mission District. Kai said, climbing in, pad thai heaven. His driver's eyebrows rose fractionally, but he said nothing, pulling smoothly into traffic. As they drove, Kai's mind raced. What would they talk about? What if there were awkward silences? What if she realized he was actually terrible company outside of boardrooms? What if this was the worst mistake he'd ever made? The restaurant was a small storefront between a laundromat and a vintage clothing shop, with a bright yellow sign and steamed-up windows. Definitely not the kind of place Kai usually frequented. His typical dining experiences involved Michelin stars and wine lists thicker than phone books. This looked perfect. He was early. 7:22. Should he wait outside? Go in? He felt like a teenager on his first date, uncertain and awkward in his own skin. The decision was made for him when Maya appeared around the corner, walking quickly. She'd changed out her scrubs into jeans and a simple green sweater that made her eyes look more gold than brown. Her hair was down now, falling in waves around her shoulders, and she carried a small crossbody bag. She was so beautiful it hurt to look at her. Maya spotted him and smiled, that sunshine smile that had rewired his entire nervous system. You're early. So are you. I'm always early. It's a nurse thing. Shift changes wait for no one. She looked him up and down, and Kai felt suddenly self-conscious about his casual clothes. You look good. Different. More normal. Is normal good? Normal is very good. Maya gestured to the restaurant. Ready to have your mind blown by the best pad thai in the city? I should mention, I've never actually had pad thai before. Maya stopped walking, staring at him. You've never had pad thai? How is that possible? Kai shrugged, feeling defensive. I usually eat at... Let me guess. 5-star restaurants with names you can't pronounce and tiny portions that cost a week's salary. Something like that. Well, prepare yourself. You're about to experience real food. She pulled open the door to the restaurant, and immediately, amazing smells washed over him. Lemongrass, garlic, chili. Something sweet and savory all at once. The restaurant was small and crowded, with mismatched tables and chairs, walls covered in Thai posters and string lights. Every table was full, conversations creating a warm buzz of noise. It was nothing like Kai's usual dining experiences. It was wonderful. Maya, a tiny Thai woman, emerged from behind the counter, beaming. "You're back. And you brought a handsome man this time instead of that sad emergency doctor who only talked about broken bones." Maya laughed, hugging the woman. "Hi, Annie Porn. This is Kai. Kai, this is Annie Porn. She owns this place and makes the best mango sticky rice in the universe. And you must be someone special," Annie Porn said, examining Kai with sharp eyes. "Maya never brings anyone here. This is her special place." "Auntie," Maya's face flushed pink, "I'll get you your usual table. The one in the corner, very romantic." Annie Porn winked and bustled away. "I'm so sorry," Maya said to Kai. "She's a little—" "I like her," Kai said honestly. "And I like that you have a usual table." Maya led him to a small table tucked in the corner, away from the main crowd, but still part of the warm chaos of the restaurant. They sat, and Annie Porn immediately brought water and menus. "I already know what I'm ordering," Maya said. "But you should look. Try something new." Kai studied the menu. It was overwhelming. Pages of dishes he'd never heard of, spice levels he didn't understand. "What do you recommend?" "The pad thai, obviously, but also the green curry if you like spicy, or the Panang curry if you like it milder. And we have to get the mango sticky rice for dessert. It's non-negotiable." "You order for both of us," Kai said, setting down the menu. "I trust your judgment." Maya's eyes widened slightly. "You're letting me order for you? You seem like someone who needs to be in control of everything." "I am," Kai admitted, "but I'm trying to be different. Tonight, at least." Something shifted in Maya's expression. Warmth, appreciation, curiosity. "Okay, but don't blame me if it's too spicy." She ordered in Thai, laughing with Annie Porn about something Kai couldn't understand. He watched her, mesmerized by how comfortable she seemed, how she fit into this space like she belonged. When Annie Porn left, Maya turned back to him. "So, this is weird, right? You being here with me?" "Very weird," Kai agreed, "but good weird." "Good weird," Maya repeated, smiling. "I like that. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. You're my boss. This is probably violating like 7 HR policies. And you're you, Kai Langford, billionaire genius, man who makes grown executives cry in boardrooms. I don't make them cry that often. That's not the reassurance you think it is." Maya leaned forward, her expression serious. "Why did you really ask me to dinner? And please don't say it's about my healthcare advice, because we both know that's not true." Kai took a breath. Honesty. She deserved honesty. "This morning, when you ran into the elevator, something happened. I can't explain it. I've spent my entire adult life avoiding exactly this. Connections, feelings, anything that might interfere with work. And then you showed up, covered in coffee, running late, completely chaotic. And for the first time in years, I felt something I've been telling myself doesn't exist. Which is interest, curiosity, a desire to know someone beyond what they can do for my bottom line." He met her eyes. "You're real, Maya. You don't care that I'm rich or powerful. You call me out on my health because you actually care, not because you want something from me. Do you have any idea how rare that is in my world?" Maya was quiet for a moment, absorbing his words. "That's really sad, actually, that you're so surrounded by people who only want something from you. It's my reality. It's how I built my success." "Maybe, but it's also how you built your loneliness." She reached across the table, her hand stopping just short of his. Not touching, but close. "I'll be honest, too. When I saw you this morning, I recognized you immediately. I'd seen your picture in business magazines, read articles about you. You're famous for being cold, calculating, untouchable. I expected you to let the elevator doors close in my face. I almost did, but you didn't. And then later, when you requested me specifically for your screening, I thought maybe you were going to be weird about it, some kind of power play. But instead, you were just vulnerable, real. And when you asked me to dinner, I said yes because I wanted to see if that version of you, the one who admits he doesn't know what pad thai is, was actually real or just an act. It's real, Kai said quietly. All of it. I'm terrible at this, Maya. I don't know how to do casual relationships or small talk or any of the things normal people do, but I want to try. With you. Their food arrived, interrupting the moment. Andy Porn set down plates of steaming noodles, fragrant curries, spring rolls. The smells were incredible. Start with the pad thai, Maya instructed, handing him chopsticks. And pace yourself. It's more filling than it looks. Kai picked up the chopsticks, awkwardly. He usually ate Asian food with a fork, not wanting to look incompetent. But tonight, with Maya watching with encouraging eyes, he tried. The first bite was a revelation. Sweet, savory, spicy, sour. All the flavors balanced perfectly. He'd eaten at some of the most exclusive restaurants in the world, but this simple street food was better than anything he could remember. Good. Maya asked, though his expression probably already told her the answer. Incredible. They ate and talked, conversation flowing easily despite Kai's fears. Maya told him about her work at the clinic, about the patients she saw, the health initiatives she was trying to implement. She talked about her years in the ER, the chaos and adrenaline, why she'd eventually left for something more structured. Kai found himself telling her things he'd never share with anyone, about the pressure taking over his father's company at 25, about how lonely it was at the top, about his doubts and fears that he usually buried under confidence and control. Do you like it? Maya asked, running the company? I'm good at it, Kai said carefully. That's not what I asked. Kai set down his chopsticks, considering. No one had ever asked him that question. I don't know anymore. I used to. When I first took over, it was exciting. I had something to prove. But now, he trailed off. Now it's just what you do, Maya finished. Not who you are, just what you do. Exactly. Kai looked at her, amazed. How did you know? Because I see it in a lot of successful people who come through the clinic. They built these incredible careers, but somewhere along the way, they forgot to build a life. Work becomes everything. And then one day they wake up and realize they're exhausted and alone and can't remember the last time they did something just because it made them happy. That's depressingly accurate. So here's my prescription, Dr. Santos's orders. Maya smiled. Do something every week that has nothing to do with work. Take a cooking class. Learn to paint. Go hiking. Something that's just for you, not for Langford Technologies. Will you do it with me? The words escaped before Kai could think better them. Maya's smile softened. Maybe. Let's see how dessert goes first. The mango sticky rice was, as promised, incredible. They shared it, Maya laughing at Kai's amazed expression with each bite. I'm ruined now, Kai said. I'll never be able to go back to restaurant desserts that cost $40 and taste like air. Good. Welcome to the real world, where food actually has flavor and doesn't require a second mortgage. They stayed until the restaurant began to close, talking until Annie Porn had to politely shoo them out. On the sidewalk outside, the night air cool and clear, Kai didn't want the evening to end. Thank you, he said to Maya, for saying yes, for this, for giving me a chance. Thank you for asking, and for being yourself. Maya pulled her jacket tighter. Even if yourself is kind of intense and probably bad at work-life balance. I'm working on that. I have a good healthcare provider giving me advice. Maya laughed. She sounded very wise. You should listen to her. They stood there, neither wanting to be the first to leave. Finally, Maya stepped back. I should go. Early shift tomorrow. Can I see you again? You'll see me every day. We work in the same building. You know what I mean. Maya bit her lip, considering. This was good, Kai. Really good. But it's also really complicated. You're my boss. If this becomes something, it affects both our jobs. We need to think about that. I'm thinking about how I don't want to lose this, Kai said. About how I haven't felt this alive in years. About how I want to know everything about you. Your favorite color, what music you listen to, what you dream about. Tell me that's not crazy. It's completely crazy. But Maya was smiling, which is why I'm saying yes. To seeing you again. But we take it slow, okay? We figure out how to navigate the complicated parts before we dive in head first. Slow. I can do slow. Can you? Because you seem like someone who only knows how to do things at full speed. Then you'll have to teach me. Kai smiled and it felt natural, easy. Add it to my treatment plan. Maya laughed, shaking her head. You're something else, Kai Langford. She stepped forward and kissed his cheek, quick and soft. Good night. Thank you for dinner. She walked away before Kai could respond, disappearing around the corner. He stood there on the sidewalk, his hand touching the spot she kissed, feeling like an idiot and not caring at all. His phone buzzed. A text from Margaret. How did it go? Kai typed back, I think I'm in love. The response was immediate. That was fast. Even for you. Kai couldn't argue. It was fast. It was crazy. It was everything he'd spent his life avoiding. And he couldn't wait to do it again. The next morning, Kai arrived at the office at 6 a.m. as usual, but nothing felt usual. He found himself watching the elevator banks, hoping to catch a glimpse of Maya arriving for her shift. He checked his phone compulsively, even though they hadn't exchanged numbers yet, an oversight he planned to correct immediately. You're smiling, Margaret said when he passed her desk. It's disturbing. Good morning to you too. No, seriously. You've been here 5 minutes, and you haven't barked a single order or complained about anything. You smiled at the security guard. Who are you, and what have you done with my boss? Kai paused, considering. I went to dinner last night. I know. I bought you the clothes, remember? Margaret leaned forward, curious. How did it go? And more importantly, are you seeing her again? Yes, I think. We didn't set a specific. Kai's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He opened the text. This is Maya. Got your number from your employee file. Unethical, I know. Hope you slept well. Also hope you're not having pad thai withdrawal. MS. Kai's smile widened. Margaret groaned. Oh no, you got it bad. I need to learn how to text, Kai said, staring at the message. What do I say back? You're a billionaire genius and you don't know how to text? I text about business. This is different. Margaret rolled her eyes. Just be yourself. Tell her you enjoyed dinner. Ask when you can see her again. Don't overthink it. Kai typed. Slept better than I have in months. Severe pad thai withdrawal. Dinner again tonight? He hesitated, then deleted the last sentence. Too eager. He tried again. Would like to see you again soon. When are you free? Still too formal. Delete. Give me that. Margaret snatched the phone. She typed quickly, then handed it back. The message read, Morning. No withdrawal yet, but ask me in an hour. Lunch today? You can't just... I just did. Send it. Kai hit send before he could second guess it. 30 seconds later, Maya's response came. Lunch works. But you're coming to the cafeteria. Need to see if you can handle eating with the common folk. Smiling face with smiling eyes. She used an emoji, Kai said, staring at the message. That's a good sign. It means she's comfortable. Now go do CEO things and try not to annoy me before noon. Kai went to his office, but concentration was impossible. He kept checking his phone, rereading Maya's messages, thinking about lunch. At 11:30, he gave up pretending to work. Clear my afternoon, he told Margaret. Everything after lunch. Already done. I figured you'd need time to recover from eating with regular employees. At noon, Kai headed down to the cafeteria on the 3rd floor, a space he designed but never actually used. It was modern and bright, with various food stations, comfortable seating areas, floor-to-ceiling windows. Hundreds of employees filled the space. their conversations creating a steady buzz. He saw Maya immediately. She sat at a table near the windows with several other people in scrubs, her colleagues from the clinic. She hadn't seen him yet, was laughing at something one of them said. Her whole face lit up with joy. Kai's heart did that lurching thing again. How had this woman become so essential to him in less than 24 hours? He approached the table, suddenly nervous. Maya looked up and smiled. There he is. Everyone, this is Kai. Kai, this is the health clinic crew. The introductions were awkward. Everyone clearly knew who he was. Their reactions ranged from nervous to starstruck. Dr. Reeves, Maya's supervisor, looked particularly uncomfortable. Mr. Langford, she said stiffly, this is unexpected. We weren't aware you utilize the employee cafeteria. I'm trying new things, Kai said, sitting next to Maya. Maya recommended I improve my diet. Did she? Dr. Reeves's tone suggested she was reserving judgment. The rest of the table fell silent. Everyone suddenly very interested in their food. Maya elbowed him gently. You're making everyone nervous. Try smiling more. Maybe tell a joke. I don't know any jokes. Of course you don't. Maya turned to her colleagues. Ignore him. He's actually human under all the CEO intimidation. I'm right here, Kai pointed out. I know. That's why I'm saying it. Maya stood. Come on. Let's get you some food before everyone passes out from anxiety. They headed to food stations, and gradually the table behind them resumed normal conversation. Maya loaded up her plate with salad, grilled chicken, fruit. Kai copied her choices, unsure what else to do. You really don't eat in cafeterias, do you? Maya observed. I usually have lunch brought to my office. By who? Margaret orders it. Usually from restaurants. Maya shook her head. You know what your problem is? You're too isolated. You sit up in your glass tower, never interacting with the people who actually make your company run. How are you supposed to lead effectively if you don't know what your employees' lives are like? I read reports. Kai said defensively, reports aren't people. People are messy and complicated and don't fit neatly into spreadsheets. She paid for both their meals before Kai could object. You want to take things slow and learn to be normal? This is part of it. Eating with colleagues, making small talk, being present in the world instead of above it. They returned to the table. Kai made an effort to engage, asking questions about people's work, their challenges. It was uncomfortable at first. He was used to boardrooms and agendas, not casual conversation, but gradually, people relaxed. One of the nurses told a funny story about a patient who tried to sneak their pet iguana into an appointment. Dr. Reeves discussed the challenges of managing healthcare for such a large company. Kai found himself actually interested. These were smart, dedicated people doing important work, and he'd never bothered to meet any of them before. See, Maya murmured to him, not so hard. But then a voice cut through the conversation like ice water. Well, this is cozy. Everyone looked up. Richard Chun, Langford Technology's chief operating officer, stood at their table. He was 50-something, ambitious, and had been trying to undermine Kai's leadership since day one. Richard, Kai said, coolly, can I help you with something? Just surprised to see you slumming it with the staff. Kai, usually, you're too busy for such pedestrian activities. Richard's eyes moved to Maya, and something calculating flickered in them. And making new friends, I see. How nice. The implied threat was clear. Richard had noticed Kai's attention on Maya, and he was already scheming how to use it against him. Mr. Chun, Dr. Reeves said formally, we were just discussing the healthcare initiatives. I'm sure you were. Richard smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Kai, when you're done here, we need to discuss the board meeting next week. Some members are concerned about your recent decisions. Schedule it with Margaret. Will do. Enjoy your lunch. Richard walked away, but the damage was done. The table's atmosphere had shifted, tension replacing the earlier ease. I should go, Kai said, standing. He'd made things worse by coming here. Richard would use Maya, to challenge his leadership. Kai, Maya started. Thank you for lunch. I'll see you later. He left before she could protest, anger and frustration warring in his chest. This was why he'd avoided connections, why he kept himself isolated, because the moment he cared about something, it became a weapon someone could use against him. Back in his office, Kai paced. He should end this with Maya now, before it became a bigger problem, before Richard could weaponize it, before board members started questioning his judgment, before Maya got caught in the crossfire of corporate politics. It was a logical choice, the safe choice. It was also unthinkable. His phone buzzed. Maya, that was Richardson being a jerk, not you doing something wrong. Don't spiral. Kai smiled despite himself. She barely knew him, and she could already read him. He typed back, he's going to use this against me. Her response, let him try. You're Kai Langford. You eat people like him for breakfast. I thought I was supposed to eat healthier? Fine. You eat people like him for a balanced breakfast that includes whole grains and protein. Better? Kai laughed, the tension easing. Much better. Dinner tonight? My place. I'll cook. We need to talk about how to handle this without letting corporate politics ruin something good. Kai hesitated. Her place was intimate, personal. It was moving faster than the slow pace Maya had suggested. But he was also desperate to see her again, to be near her without the weight of his position, crushing everything. Yes, he typed. What time? 7. I'll text you the address. And Kai, don't bring wine that costs more than my rent. How much is your rent? If you have to ask, you can't afford the wine I want. He smiled, typing, understood, see you at 7. Maya's apartment was in a converted warehouse in the Mission, 4th floor walk-up. Kai stood outside the building at 6:55, holding a bottle of wine that cost $30. He'd asked the sommelier at the corner store what was good but not intimidating, and feeling more nervous than he had before any business negotiation. The building was old but well-maintained, with colorful murals on the exterior walls and the smell of various cuisines drifting from open windows. So, different from Kai's sterile high-rise penthouse. He climbed the stairs, found Maya's apartment, for C, and knocked. Maya opened the door wearing jeans and a Stanford sweatshirt, her hair in a messy bun, bare feet. She looked comfortable, relaxed, completely at home. Kai had never seen anything more beautiful. You're early, she said, smiling. Come in. Fair warning, my apartment is tiny and probably not what you're used to. Kai stepped inside. The apartment was small, studio, maybe 400 square feet, but Maya had made it warm and welcoming. Plants everywhere, artwork on the walls, books stacked on every surface. A kitchen area occupied one corner, a bed another, a couch and small table defined the living space. Everything was clean, but lived in, personal. It's perfect, Kai said honestly. Liar, you probably have walk-in closets bigger than this. But Maya seemed pleased. Make yourself comfortable. Dinner's almost ready. Kai sat on the couch while Maya moved around the kitchen with practiced efficiency. Something was simmering on the stove, filling the apartment with amazing smells, garlic, herbs, something tomato-based. I'm making pasta, Maya said. Nothing fancy. My grandmother's recipe. She was Italian, came over when she was 20 and brought about 5 recipes with her. This was her favorite. It smells incredible. It tastes better. Open that wine. Glasses are in the cabinet above the sink. Kai found the glasses, mismatched, probably collected over years, and opened the wine. He poured 2 glasses and brought one to Maya, who was stirring the sauce. Thank you. She took a sip, nodded approvingly. Good choice. Not too expensive, right? $30. Perfect. If you brought something that cost hundreds, I would have made you leave. She turned off the stove. Okay, pasta's done. Set the table? They ate at Maya's small table by the window, which overlooked the street below. The pasta was simple but delicious. Just sauce, cheese, basil. They talked about everything and nothing. Maya told him about her family. Her mother still lived in the neighborhood. Her younger brother was in law school. Her grandmother had passed 2 years ago. What about you? Maya asked, what's your family like? Kai tensed. My parents divorced when I was 10. My father remarried twice. I have a half-sister I see maybe once a year. We're not close. That sounds lonely. It was the norm. My father believed in self-sufficiency. He thought attachment made you weak. Maya set down her fork, studying him. Is that why you've never been in a serious relationship? Because you think it makes you weak? Kai looked at her, this woman who saw through him so easily. Yes, maybe. I don't know anymore. My father built an empire by trusting no one, needing no one. I try to follow that model. And how's that working for you? Until yesterday morning, I thought it was working perfectly. Kai reached across the table, taking her hand. Then you ran into my elevator, and everything I thought I knew became irrelevant. Maya's fingers intertwined with his. You know this is crazy, right? We barely know each other. You're my boss. There are about 17,000 reasons why this is a terrible idea. I know, but I can't stop thinking about you either. She squeezed his hand. When you left the cafeteria today, I wanted to follow you, to tell you not to let people like Richard Chin ruin this. Whatever this is. What is this, Maya? She was quiet for a moment, thinking, I don't know. Something new. Something that scares me and excites me at the same time. Something worth fighting for, maybe. Richard will try to use you against me. You need to know that. Let him try. I'm tougher than I look. She smiled, but there was steel in it. I grew up in this neighborhood. I worked in an ER for 4 years. I can handle corporate politics. It's different when you're the target. Then we'll handle it together. Maya stood, pulling him up with her. Come on. I want to show you something. She led him to the window and pointed down at the street. See that corner store? When I was 10, the owner caught me trying to steal candy. I didn't have money and I was hungry. Instead of calling the police, he made me a deal. I could work in the store after school, stocking shelves, and he'd pay me in food and a little cash. Why are you telling me this? Because Mr. Park, that was his name, he taught me that people are more than their worst moments, that everyone deserves a chance to be better. He saw a scared kid trying to steal and chose to help instead of punish. She turned to look at Kai. You've spent your whole life thinking emotions are weaknesses, that caring about people makes you vulnerable. But maybe vulnerability is actually a strength. Maybe letting people, it makes you stronger, not weaker. Kai pulled her closer, his hands settling on her waist. You're asking me to unlearn 32 years of conditioning. I know. I'm asking you to try anyway. He kissed her then, unable to resist any longer. Maya melted into him, her arms wrapping around his neck. The kiss was soft and sweet and full of promise. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Kai rested his forehead against hers. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. How to be someone who's open and vulnerable. Someone who lets people matter. You're already doing it. You're here, aren't you? In my tiny apartment, eating pasta, telling me about your family. That's vulnerability. It feels like standing at the edge of a cliff. It is, but I'm right here with you. We'll jump together. They moved to the couch, where Maya curled against Kai's side, her head on his shoulder. It was comfortable in a way Kai had never experienced. Intimate but not sexual, close but not suffocating. They talked for hours, sharing stories, dreams, fears. Maya told him about her worst day in the ER, a child who died despite everything they tried to do, and how she'd almost quit medicine entirely. Kai told her about the day he'd taken over his father's company, how terrified he'd been that he'd destroy everything his family had built. But you didn't destroy it, Maya said. You made it better, bigger. At what cost? Kai asked quietly. I haven't had a real friend in years. I can't remember the last time I did something just for fun. I made myself into exactly what my father wanted, successful, independent, untouchable. And I was starting to wonder if I'd lost something essential along the way. You didn't lose it. It's still there. You just buried it. Maya sat up, looking at him seriously. Can I tell you something? Anything. When you walked into the clinic yesterday for your exam, I looked up your history. You donate millions to charity every year. You've created programs to help employees with healthcare costs. You personally approved funding for the clinic's expansion. Those aren't the actions of someone who's lost their humanity. They're the actions of someone who cares but doesn't know how to show it. Kai felt something crack in his chest. A wall he'd built years ago, starting to crumble. I don't know if I could be what you need. I'm not good at relationships. I'm terrible at communication. I work too much and I'm used to controlling everything. I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to be honest. To try. To let me in, even when it's scary. Maya took his hand. Can you do that? Kai looked at this remarkable woman who'd crashed into his life with coffee-stained scrubs and a smile that had undone him completely. Every logical part of his brain screamed that this was too fast, too risky, too dangerous. But for once in his life, Kai ignored logic. Yes, he said, I can try. Maya smiled, that sunshine smile, and kissed him again. This kiss was deeper, more urgent. Kai's hands tangled in her hair as she pressed closer, and he felt like he was drowning in the best possible way. Stay, Maya whispered against his lips. Not for... we don't have to. I just don't want you to leave yet. I'll stay as long as you want. They lay on her couch, tangled together, talking and kissing and simply being close. Kai's phone buzzed multiple times. Emails, messages, all of them urgent according to the senders. He ignored everyone. Around midnight, Maya fell asleep against his shoulder. Kai carefully adjusted them so she was more comfortable, pulling a blanket over her. He should leave, go back to his penthouse, handle the work that was piling up. Instead, he stayed. For the first time in years, Kai Langford chose someone over his work, chose connection over control. And as he held Maya in his arms, listening to her quiet breathing, he realized something fundamental had shifted in him. The walls he'd built were crumbling. The isolation he'd cultivated was dissolving. He was falling in love. Really, truly, terrifyingly in love. And there was no going back. Kai woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and a warm body pressed against his side. For a disoriented moment, he couldn't remember where he was. Then he smelled vanilla and felt Maya's shift in her sleep, and everything came rushing back. He'd stayed the night at Maya's apartment. They'd fallen asleep on her couch fully clothed, just holding each other. Nothing inappropriate had happened, but Kai knew how it would look if anyone found out. His phone was vibrating frantically on the coffee table. 23 missed calls, 57 emails, multiple texts from Margaret, each one more urgent than the last. Maya stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Morning, she mumbled, smiling sleepily. You stayed. I stayed, Kai confirmed, brushing hair from her face. The gesture felt natural, easy. I should probably check my phone, though. Margaret's been calling. It's 6 a.m. What kind of emergency happens at 6 a.m.? Kai grabbed his phone and immediately saw the problem. The top email was from Richard Chun, sent to the entire board of directors at 5 a.m. Subject: Concerns regarding CEO judgment. Kai's stomach dropped. He opened the email, already knowing it would be bad. It was worse than bad. It was devastating. Richard had included photos, Kai and Maya at the Thai restaurant, laughing over dinner. Kai and Maya in the cafeteria, sitting close. And most damning, a photo taken through Maya's apartment window last night, showing them kissing on her couch. The email detailed how Kai was engaging in inappropriate relationships with subordinate employees, how he was violating company policy, how his personal entanglements were affecting his judgment and leadership. Richard called for an emergency board meeting to discuss Kai's fitness to continue as CEO. No, Kai breathed. No, no, no. What? Maya sat up, seeing his expression. What's wrong? Kai showed her the email, watched her face go pale as she read, as she saw the photos. He was watching us, she whispered. He had someone following you, taking pictures. He's been looking for an opening to challenge my leadership for months. I handed it to him. Kai stood, running his hands through his hair. This is exactly what I was afraid of. You're going to be dragged into corporate warfare. Because of me. Hey! Maya grabbed his hand, pulling him back down beside her. This isn't your fault. This is Richard Chin being a manipulative asshole. The board will force me to choose. The company or you. Then choose a company. Maya's voice was steady, but Kai could see tears in her eyes. Kai, you built Langford Technologies. You can't let someone like Richard destroy what you created. I'm not choosing the company over you. You have to. I'm a nurse you've known for 3 days. Your company is your life's work. There's no comparison. Kai cupped her face in his hands. You're not just anything. You're the first person in years who's made me feel like a human being instead of a profit margin. You're brilliant and compassionate, and you see me, really see me, in a way no one else ever has. I'm not giving that up. But the company can be rebuilt. You can't. This, he gestured between them, can't. Maya's tears spilled over. That's the most romantic and stupidest thing I've ever heard. Despite everything, Kai smiled. I'm new at this. Give me time to get better at the romantic speeches. His phone rang. Margaret. Kai answered. I saw the email. Emergency board meeting in 2 hours. Margaret's voice was tight with anger. Richard's been working the board members all night. Half of them are ready to vote you out. Then I'll change their minds. Kai, this is serious. They have photos. Evidence of you fraternizing with an employee. That's grounds for removal under the ethics clause of your contract. I'll deal with it. Is there anything else? Yes. The press has a story. It's going to be everywhere by this afternoon. TMZ, business journals, all of it. They're already calling it a scandal. Kai closed his eyes. This was spiraling faster than he could control. I need you to do something for me. Anything. Protect Maya. Whatever happens, make sure she doesn't lose her job. Make sure she's not harassed or targeted. Can you do that? Silence. Then, you're really doing this? Choosing her over the company? I'm fighting for both. But if I have to choose, I choose her. You've completely lost your mind. But Margaret's voice was softer. I'll protect her. You focus on surviving the board meeting. Kai ended the call. Maya was staring at him, fresh tears streaming down her face. You can't do this. You can't throw away everything for me. Watch me. He kissed her forehead. I need to go. Shower, change, prepare for battle. But Maya, listen to me. Whatever happens in the next few hours, whatever you hear, remember this. You're not a distraction or a mistake or a scandal. You're the best thing that's happened to me in years. And I'm going to fight like hell to keep both you and my company. How? They have photos. Evidence. Richard's been planning this. Then I'll be smarter. I'll remind the board why they made me CEO in the first place. And I'll make it clear that my personal life is no one's business but mine. He stood, pulling her up with him. Go to work today. Do your job. Act like nothing's wrong. Margaret will make sure you're protected. Kai. Trust me. Please. Maya kissed him, fierce and desperate. Win. Don't let them destroy you. I don't lose, Kai said. Not when it matters. And this matters more than anything. The boardroom was packed. All 15 board members were present, plus Richard Chun and the company's legal counsel. Kai entered at exactly 8 a.m., wearing his most expensive suit, every inch the powerful CEO. The room fell silent. Kai moved to the head of the table, standing rather than sitting. Power position. Good morning, he said, his voice cold and controlled. I understand we have concerns to address. Richard stood, holding a tablet. Concerns is putting it mildly, Kai. You've been engaging in an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate employee. You violated company ethics policy. You've made the company vulnerable to lawsuits and negative press. This is grounds for immediate removal. Is it? Kai looked around the table. Who here has read the complete ethics policy? Section 4, subsection B specifically? The board members shifted uncomfortably. Richard's expression faltered. What are you talking about? Section 4, subsection B states that romantic relationships between employees must be disclosed to HR and properly managed to avoid conflict of interest. It doesn't prohibit them. It regulates them. Kai pulled out his own tablet. I disclosed my interest in Miss Santos to HR yesterday afternoon. Margaret filed all the appropriate paperwork. There's no violation. This was a lie. He hadn't disclosed anything. But Kai was gambling that Margaret had anticipated this and filed the paperwork anyway. His assistant was nothing if not thorough. You can't just... Richard was flustered now. Can't just what? Follow company policy? Ensure compliance with our own regulations. Kai's voice hardened. Unlike you, Richard, I actually read the policies I'm accused of violating. One of the board members, Janet Reeves, no relation to the doctor, leaned forward. Even if you follow disclosure procedures, Kai, the optics are terrible. You're the CEO. You can't be seen dating employees. It suggests favoritism, creates hostile work environment claims. Miss Santos and I began our relationship outside of work context. We met in an elevator. We had dinner at a restaurant. We've taken care to maintain professional boundaries at the office. Another lie, but a smaller one. As for optics, I'd argue that a CEO who treats all employees with respect and dignity, regardless of their position, sends a better message than one who acts like staff are beneath them. He turned to Richard. Which brings us to you. You hired a private investigator to follow me, to spy on me and Miss Santos. You took photos through her apartment window, which is likely illegal, by the way. You distributed these photos to the board and the press without permission. And you did all of this not out of concern for the company, but because you want my job. Richard's face flushed. That's absurd. Is it? How many times have you tried to undermine my decisions in the past 6 months? How many board members have you privately lobbied to support your bid for CEO? How many times have you suggested that I'm too young, too inexperienced, not cut out for this role? Kai pulled up his own evidence. Emails, recorded conversations, documented instances of Richard's attempts to sabotage his leadership. He'd been collecting this information for months, waiting for the right moment to use it. You want to question my judgment? My ethics? Fine, but let's also examine yours. Let's discuss how you've been secretly negotiating with competitors about a potential merger that would eliminate thousands of jobs but make you very wealthy. Let's talk about the kickbacks you've been receiving from vendors. Should I continue? The room erupted. Board members demanded explanations. Richard started shouting denials. The legal counsel was frantically taking notes. Kai let the chaos continue for exactly 30 seconds. Then he slammed his hand on the table, silencing everyone. Here's what's going to happen, he said, his voice cutting to the noise like a blade. Richard Chen is going to resign immediately. If he refuses, I'll hand over all this evidence to the SEC and the FBI. The board is going to vote on whether I continue as CEO. And if you vote me out, I'll sell my shares, all 42% of them, to our primary competitor. Within 6 months, Langford Technologies will cease to exist as an independent company. You wouldn't, Janet breathed. You built this company. Try me. This company is my life's work. Yes, but I'm not going to lead it under a cloud of scandal manufactured by a man who's been embezzling and scheming for his own gain. If you don't trust my leadership, if you think my personal life makes me unfit, then I'll take my expertise elsewhere and watch this place burn. It was the biggest bluff of Kai's life. He would never actually destroy his company. But the board didn't know that. All in favor of Richard Chen's immediate resignation? Kai asked. Slowly, hands began to rise. One, then another, then all of them. Richard looked around, betrayed and furious, but he was outnumbered. You will regret this, he snarled at Kai. I doubt it. Security will escort you out. Your access is revoked effective immediately. 2 security guards materialized. Kai had positioned them outside just in case. They led Richard away, his protests echoing down the hallway. When the door closed, Kai turned back to the board. Now, let's vote on my continued leadership. Those who think I should step down, say so now. I'll respect your decision and leave quietly. Silence. No one moved. Very well. Then I propose we return to actually running this company instead of engaging in political theater. Janet, your quarterly projections are due tomorrow. Marcus, I want an update on the Singapore expansion. Linda, schedule a review of our ethics policies. Clearly, they need to be better enforced. The board members nodded, chastened and relieved that the drama was over. The meeting dissolved into normal business discussions. Kai participated, his mind working on multiple levels, but part of him was thinking about Maya, about how she was probably seeing the news stories right now, reading about the scandal, worrying about what this meant for both of them. When the meeting finally ended 3 hours later, Kai immediately pulled out his phone. 10 messages from Maya, getting progressively more worried. He called her. She answered on the first ring. "Are you okay? I saw the news. They're saying terrible things." "I'm fine. Richard's gone. I kept my job. And I need to see you. I'm at the clinic. It's been chaos. Reporters tried to get in. Patients are asking questions. I'm coming down. Right now." "Kai, that's just going to make things worse." "I don't care. I told you I was fighting for both. That includes fighting for us publicly, not just in boardrooms." He hung up before she could protest and headed for the elevator. Margaret intercepted him in the hallway. "That was either the bravest or stupidest thing you've ever done," she said. "Probably both." Kai kept walking. But it worked. This time, the press is still going to be brutal. Your relationship with Maya is going to be dissected and analyzed and probably destroyed by media scrutiny. Then we'll survive it. Together. He reached the elevator, pressed the button for the 15th floor. As the doors closed, Kai caught sight of his reflection. He looked exactly like he always did. Controlled, composed, untouchable. But inside, everything had changed. Inside, he was a man who just gambled his entire career on the possibility of love. A man who'd chosen vulnerability over safety, connection over isolation. A man who had no idea if he was about to make the biggest mistake of his life or the best decision he'd ever made. The elevator descended, carrying him toward Maya and whatever came next. The employee health clinic was under siege. Kai saw it immediately when the elevator doors opened. Reporters clustered outside the clinic entrance. Security guards trying to keep them back. Employees whispering and staring. This was worse than he'd expected. Kai strode to the corridor, his security detail appearing from nowhere to flank him. The reporters surged forward, shouting questions. "Mr. Langford, is it true you're dating an employee? Are you concerned about sexual harassment lawsuits? Has your relationship affected company operations?" Kai ignored them all, pushing through to the clinic door. Dr. Reeves stood just inside, her expression furious. "Mr. Langford, you cannot be here right now. You're causing a disruption." "Where's Maya?" "Miss Santos is with a patient, and she's been dealing with harassment all morning because of your reckless behavior. Reporters calling, patients asking invasive questions, her colleagues uncomfortable around her. This is exactly why we have policies about workplace relationships. I followed those policies. I disclosed to HR after the fact, after you'd already made her a target." Dr. Reeves stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Maya is a brilliant practitioner. She has a real future in healthcare, and you're destroying it because you couldn't keep your personal life separate from work." The words hit harder than they should have, because Dr. Reeves wasn't entirely wrong. Kai had brought this chaos into Maya's life. He'd made her vulnerable to scrutiny she didn't deserve. "I'm here to fix it," he said. "You can't fix this. The best thing you can do is leave her alone." "That's not happening." "Why?" "Because you're used to get what you want." Dr. Reeves shook her head. "You're not thinking about what's best for Maya. You're thinking about yourself." Before Kai could respond, a door opened and Maya emerged. She was wearing her scrubs, her expression professional, but Kai could see the strain around her eyes, the tension in her shoulders. Their eyes met across the clinic. Everything else fell away. The reporters, Dr. Reeves's anger, the whispers of other employees. Just Maya, looking at him with a mixture of relief and concern and something deeper. She walked toward him, ignoring Dr. Reeves's protest. "You survived the board meeting. Richard's gone. I kept my job." Kai wanted to touch her, to pull her close, but they were being watched by dozens of eyes. "Are you okay?" "I've been better, but I've also been worse." She glanced at the reporters visible through the glass door. "This is insane, Kai. They've been calling me all morning. Someone even called my mother asking for comments about my relationship with the billionaire CEO. Guilt twisted in Kai's chest. I'm sorry. I never wanted this to affect you. I know, but it is affecting me. My job, my reputation, my privacy. It's all under a microscope now. Maya's voice dropped lower. Dr. Reeves thinks I should end this. That it's too complicated, too public. She might be right. Is that what you want? Maya looked at him for a long moment. What I want is for this to be simple. For us to just be two people who like each other, figuring things out. But that's not our reality, is it? Our reality is board meetings and reporters and corporate politics. So, we change reality, Kai said. How? By not hiding. By making it clear that what we have is real and legitimate and no one's business but ours. Kai reached for her hand, very deliberately, in full view of everyone watching. I'm not good at this, Maya. I don't know how to do relationships or handle media scrutiny of my personal life. But I know I'm not willing to lose you because other people have opinions about how I should live my life. Kai, let me finish. These past few days with you have been the best of my life. You make me laugh. You challenge me. You make me want to be better, not just more successful. And yes, it's complicated. Yes, it's happening fast. But I've spent 32 years being careful and isolated and miserable. I'd rather be reckless and connected and happy. He stepped closer, his voice for her alone now. So here's what I'm proposing. We go public, properly, not hiding or sneaking around, but openly acknowledging that we're together. We face the scrutiny head-on instead of letting it control us. And we do it on our terms, not Richard Chen's or the media's. That's terrifying, Maya whispered. I know, but I'm terrified anyway. At least this way, we're terrified together. Maya bit her lip, clearly torn. My job will be protected. I already spoke to HR. You're being moved to a different reporting structure, one that doesn't connect to me at all. Completely separate. And I'm implementing a new company-wide policy about workplace relationships that's clear and fair. You did all that this morning? Margaret did most of it. But yes, Kai squeezed her hand. I'm trying, Maya, to do this right. To protect you while not hiding what you mean to me. Tell me that's enough. Tell me you're willing to try. Around them, the clinic had gone completely silent. Everyone was watching, waiting for Maya's response. She looked at Dr. Reeves, who shook her head firmly, looked at her colleagues, most of whom seemed sympathetic but uncertain, looked at the reporter still visible through the glass, cameras ready to capture whatever happened next. Then she looked back at Kai and smiled. You know what? Screw it. Life's too short to play it safe. She kissed him, right there in the middle of the employee health clinic, with half the staff watching and reporters recording through the windows. She kissed him like she didn't care who saw, like she was choosing him over caution and comfort. Kai kissed her back, his hands framing her face, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might explode. This was reckless. This was public. This was everything he'd spent his life avoiding. It was perfect. When they broke apart, the clinic erupted. Some people were clapping. Actually clapping. Others looked shocked. Dr. Reeves looked like she wanted to murder them both. The reporters outside were going crazy. Cameras flashing. Everyone shouting questions. Well, Maya said breathlessly, that's one way to go public. Regrets? Kai asked. Ask me in an hour when the full panic sets in. But she was laughing, her eyes bright with adrenaline and joy. What do we do now? Now we face the reporters. Together. And we make it clear that we're not apologizing for finding each other. They walked to the clinic entrance hand in hand. Kai's security detail formed a protective barrier, but Kai waved them back slightly. He needed to do this without hiding behind protection. The questions came fast. Mr. Langford, how long have you been seeing Miss Santos? Are you concerned about the power imbalance in your relationship? Miss Santos, did you pursue Mr. Langford for his money? Kai felt Maya tense at that last question, but he squeezed her hand, grounding her. I'll make a brief statement, Kai said, his voice cutting through the chaos. Miss Santos and I met by chance several days ago. Our relationship developed naturally and quickly. Yes, I'm her employer, which makes this complicated. We've taken steps to ensure there's no conflict of interest or appearance of impropriety. Beyond that, our personal life is private. I won't be answering questions about it. But, Mr. Langford, I said I won't be answering questions. However, I will say this. I've spent my entire adult life building Langford Technologies. I've sacrificed relationships, friendships, any semblance of work-life balance for this company. And I'm proud of what we've built. But I'm not sacrificing my chance at happiness because some people think CEOs should be robots. Miss Santos is remarkable, intelligent, compassionate, dedicated to her work. I'm lucky she gave me a chance. And I'm not apologizing for that. He turned to Maya. Do you want to add anything? Maya looked at the reporters, took a breath, and stepped forward. Yeah, I have something to say. I didn't pursue Mr. Langford for his money or his position. I didn't even want to like him. He's intimidating and workaholic, and kind of terrible at basic life skills. But he's also kind and honest and willing to be vulnerable. He sees me as a person, not just a staff member. And that's rare. So yes, this is complicated. Yes, people are going to judge us. But I'm not going to apologize for being with someone who makes me happy just because it's inconvenient for other people's narratives. She grabbed Kai's hand again, facing the cameras directly. Now, if you'll excuse us, I have patients to see and Mr. Langford has a company to run. We're done here. They walked away together, leaving the reporters shouting questions behind them. Kai's security detail closed in, creating a protective barrier as they headed back into the building. In the elevator, alone finally, Maya let out a shaky laugh. Did that really just happen? Did I really just lecture reporters about my love life? You were incredible, Kai said, though kind of terrible at basic life skills. You didn't know what pad thai was. My point stands. Fair. He pulled her close, breathing in her vanilla scent, feeling the adrenaline drain away. Are you okay? Really, I'm terrified. That video is going to be everywhere. My family's going to see it. My ex-boyfriend from college is probably watching it right now. My grandmother is probably spinning in her grave. Regrets? Maya looked up at him, and her eyes were clear. Not even one. This is insane in public, and probably going to make my life a nightmare for a while. But I meant what I said. You make me happy. And I'm done apologizing for that. Kai kissed her forehead. Move in with me. What? Move in with me. Your apartment is under siege by reporters. Mine has security and privacy. Plus, it's closer to work. Kai, we've known each other for 3 days. 4, technically, and we're already the subject of a media frenzy. We've already publicly declared we're together. At this point, moving in together is just logistics. Maya laughed, shaking her head. You're completely insane. Is that a yes? It's a maybe. Let me think about it. After I finish my shift and call my mother and have a complete nervous breakdown about what just happened. Deal. I'll send a car for you at 6. We'll have dinner, talk properly, figure out next steps. Look at you, being all reasonable and patient. I'm learning from the best. The elevator reached Kai's floor. He kissed her one more time, soft and sweet. Thank you for choosing this, for choosing us. Thank you for making me brave enough to try. Maya stepped back as the doors started to close. See you at 6, Mr. Langford. See you at 6, Miss Santos. The video of Kai and Maya's impromptu press conference went viral within hours. By the time Kai returned to his office, it had been viewed over 2 million times, with commentary ranging from supportive to scathing. The Billionaire and the Nurse, a modern fairy tale, read one headline. CEO's romantic entanglement raises questions about judgment. Read another. Power couple or power imbalance. Experts weigh in, said a third. Margaret appeared in his doorway, tablet in hand. Your publicist is having a breakdown. She's gotten 47 interview requests in the past 2 hours. Everyone wants a full story. Tell her to decline them all. We said what we needed to say. The board members are calling too. Some of them are concerned about the optics. They can be concerned all they want. I just got rid of Richard. I'm not going to spend my time managing board members' feelings about my personal life. Margaret studied him. You've changed. The old you would have calculated every angle, controlled every narrative, made sure the situation benefited the company somehow. Now you're just letting it happen. The old me was miserable. Kai said, the old me would have pushed Maya away the moment things got complicated. I'm done being that person. Good. Because she's good for you. Margaret's expression softened. I've worked for you for 5 years. I've never seen you smile this much. Never seen you prioritize anything over work. If Maya Santos can make you remember you're a human being and not just a CEO, then I don't care what the press says. Fight for her. I intend to. The rest of the day was chaos. Conference calls with investors, reassuring them the company was stable. Meetings with legal counsel about policy changes. Interviews with HR about restructuring Maya's reporting chain. Through it all, Kai kept checking his phone, reading the messages Maya sent between patients. My mother called. She's simultaneously thrilled I'm dating a billionaire and horrified it's her boss's boss's boss. Very confusing conversation. Dr. Reeves is giving me the silent treatment. Pretty sure she's writing up my termination papers as we speak. A patient asked for your autograph. I told her I'd see what I could do. You're officially a celebrity now. How does it feel? Kai smiled at each message, firing back responses. Tell your mother I'm planning to be very respectful and absolutely terrified of her. Dr. Reeves doesn't have termination authority over you anymore. Remember? Different reporting structure. You're safe. Being a celebrity is overrated. Preferred it when my biggest problem was a broken elevator. At 6 p.m. sharp, Kai left the office for the first time in years. Usually he worked until 9 or 10, sometimes later. But tonight, Maya was waiting and nothing else mattered. His driver took him to Maya's apartment building, where a smaller crowd of reporters still lingered. They surged forward when they saw Kai's car, cameras flashing. Maya emerged from the building before Kai could go in, carrying an overnight bag. She looked exhausted but beautiful, her hair down, wearing jeans and a soft sweater. Kai got out of the car, ignoring the reporter's questions, and took her bag. Rough day. You could say that. I diagnosed 3 cases of flu, treated a sprained ankle, and gave 17 interviews about our relationship. Well, I declined 17 interviews, but same difference. Kai helped her into the car, and they pulled away from the chaos. In the privacy of the back seat, Maya leaned against him with a sigh. This is exhausting, she said. How do you live like this? With everyone watching, everyone having opinions about your life? Usually I don't give them anything to watch. I keep my life private, controlled, boring. He wrapped his arm around her. But I'm realizing that keeping myself isolated wasn't protection. It was just another form of prison. Deep thoughts from Kai Langford. I've had a profound 24 hours. They arrived at Kai's building, a luxury high-rise in the financial district with security that actually worked. No reporters here, just a smooth entry into the private elevator that went directly to his penthouse. Maya had never seen Kai's home before. She stepped out of the elevator into the foyer, her eyes widening as she took in the space. The penthouse was everything her apartment wasn't. Enormous, modern, expensive. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the city lights. The furniture was designer. The art was museum quality. Everything was perfectly arranged and completely impersonal. Wow, Maya said. This is very you. Well, the you I thought you were before I actually met you. It's sterile, Kai admitted, seeing his home through her eyes. I never bothered making it feel like a home. It was just a place to sleep between work sessions. We can fix that. Add some color. Some plants. Maybe some actual signs of human habitation. Maya set down her bag. Though I should mention, I kill plants. So we might want to start with fake ones. Kai smiled, pulling her close. I'll hire a gardener. Problem solved. Look at you, solving problems with money. How very billionaire of you. I have other qualities. Do you? Name 3 that don't involve money or business. Kai thought about it. A week ago, he wouldn't have been able to answer. Now, I'm learning to make pad thai from YouTube videos. I'm getting better at texting with emojis. And I'm excellent at holding elevators for beautiful women who are running late. 2 of those are because of me. All of them are because of you. You're literally making me into a better person. Maya's expression softened. You were already a good person. You just forgot how to show it. She kissed him, soft and slow. Now, you promised me dinner. Please tell me you actually have food in this massive apartment. I had Margaret stock the kitchen. Though I should warn you, I've never actually cooked anything in there. Of course you haven't. Maya headed toward the kitchen, which was state-of-the-art and spotless. Okay, new rule. If I'm moving in and that's still an if, we cook at least 3 times a week. Real cooking, not ordering from restaurants. I don't know how to cook. Then I'll teach you. Consider it part of your healthcare plan. Cooking is stress relief, creative expression, and practical life skill all in one. They spent the evening cooking together. Or rather, Maya cooked while Kai tried to help without causing disasters. He chopped vegetables under her supervision, only cutting himself twice. He learned the difference between sautéing and stir-frying. He burned the garlic, but managed not to set off the smoke alarm. It was domestic and chaotic, and nothing like any evening Kai had ever spent. It was perfect. Over dinner, pasta primavera that Maya had mostly made herself, they talked about the logistics. If Maya moved in, how would they handle it? What about her lease, her stuff? The fact that they'd known each other less than a week. My lease is month to month, Maya said. So that's not a problem. My stuff fits in about 6 boxes. And as for the timing, yeah, it's insane. We're going way too fast. But I'm doing it anyway. Because sitting in my apartment alone tonight, watching that video of us, reading all the comments and articles, I realized something. Life's too short to be careful all the time. Sometimes you have to take a risk on something that feels right, even if it's scary. Kai reached across the table, taking her hand. I've spent my whole life minimizing risk, calculating every angle, building walls to protect myself. And I was safe, but I was also empty. You make me feel full, alive, like there's more to life than quarterly reports and acquisition strategies. You're getting really good at these speeches. I'm motivated by excellent inspiration. They cleaned up together, Maya teaching Kai how to properly load a dishwasher. Apparently there was a technique. Who knew? Then they settled on a couch in Kai's living room, the city lights twinkling below them. Can I ask you something? Maya said, curled against his side. Anything. Why me? Really? You could have anyone. Models, actresses, other billionaires. Why a nurse practitioner who spilled coffee on herself and ran through your lobby like a disaster? Kai thought about how to answer. Because you were real. Everyone in my world wants something from me. They see Kai Langford, CEO, not Kai the person. But you saw me. You called me out on my health, my isolation, my inability to eat actual meals. You treated me like a human being who needed help, not a bank account to be impressed. And when I looked at you, I saw someone genuine and warm and completely unconcerned with my money or status. I saw someone I wanted to know, really know. Does that make sense? It makes sense. Though I should mention, your money is kind of intimidating. This apartment probably costs more per month than I make in a year. Does that bother you? A little, Maya admitted. I grew up middle class. My dad was a teacher. My mom was a social worker. We were comfortable, but not wealthy. This world you live in, private elevators, personal drivers, penthouse apartments, it's like something from a movie. Sometimes I worry I don't belong here. You belong wherever you want to be, and I hope that's here. With me. Kai tilted her chin up, so she was looking at him. But if the money makes you uncomfortable, we'll figure it out. I can be less ostentatious, more normal. Maya laughed. You can't just turn off being a billionaire, Kai. Watch me. I'll donate more charity. I'll drive my own car. I'll eat exclusively at restaurants where the entrees cost less than $20. You're ridiculous. I'm in love with you. The words hung in the air between them. Kai hadn't planned to say them, but now that they were out, he didn't want to take them back. It was too soon, too fast, too everything. And it was also completely true. Maya's eyes filled with tears. It's been 4 days. I know. People don't fall in love in 4 days. Apparently we do. This is crazy. We're crazy. But Maya was smiling through her tears. I love you too. God help me. But I do. You're impossible and intense, and you work too much, and you didn't know what pad thai was. And I'm completely, stupidly in love with you. Kai kissed her, pouring everything he felt into it. The joy, the terror, the absolute certainty that this woman had changed his life forever. Maya kissed him back with equal intensity, her hands fisting in his shirt. They made it to his bedroom somehow, leaving a trail of clothes behind them. And for the first time in his life, Kai Langford let himself be completely vulnerable with another person. Let himself feel without calculating, connect without protecting himself, love without reservation. Later, wrapped around each other in Kai's enormous bed, Maya traced patterns on his chest. So this is really happening, she murmured. We're really doing this. Having regrets? Ask me in the morning when the panic sets in. She propped herself up on her elbow, looking down at him. But right now I'm exactly where I want to be. Good. Because I'm never letting you go. That's very possessive and probably slightly unhealthy. I'll work on it. Add it to the list of things you're teaching me to be better at. Maya's phone buzzed on the nightstand. She grabbed it, groaning when she saw the screen. 37 missed calls. My mother, my brother, my friend from nursing school, 2 of my exes who apparently want to reconnect, and someone from TMZ offered me money for an exclusive interview. Don't talk to TMZ. I wasn't planning on it. But we should probably call my mother. She's going to keep calling until we do. Now! Might as well get it over with. Maya dialed, putting the phone on speaker. It rang once before a woman's voice answered. Maya Santos, you have some explaining to do. Hi, Mama. I'm with Kai. You're on speaker. A pause. Then, hello, Mr. Langford. Thank you for making my daughter famous without asking permission first. Mrs. Santos, I apologize for the chaos. I don't want your apologies. I want to know your intentions. Are you serious about my daughter, or is this some rich person's game? Kai sat up, suddenly nervous. He'd negotiated with world leaders and hadn't felt this intimidated. I'm very serious, Mrs. Santos. I know this happened quickly. Quickly? You've known her less than a week, and she's already in your bed. That's not quickly, that's light speed. Mama, Maya's face was bright red. What? I'm your mother. I'm allowed to be blunt. Mrs. Santos's voice softened slightly. Mr. Langford, my daughter is brilliant and kind, and she deserves someone who sees that. Who values her for who she is, not what she can do for him. Can you be that person? I'm trying to be, Kai said honestly. Maya has already changed my life in ways I can't fully explain. She's made me want to be better. Not just more successful, but better as a person. I love her, Mrs. Santos, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make her happy. Silence on the other end. Then, well, that's a good start. But I'm watching you, Mr. Langford. Hurt my daughter, and all your money and security won't protect you. Understood? Understood. Good. Now put Maya back on. We need to discuss appropriate interview protocols and how to handle the media circus you created. They spent the next hour on the phone with Maya's mother, who turned out to be surprisingly savvy about media management. She worked in social services and had dealt with reporters before. By the end of the call, they had a strategy. Minimal comments. Focus on work. Let the relationship speak for itself through actions rather than words. When they finally hung up, Maya looked exhausted but relieved. Well, you survived meeting my mother. Sort of. Via phone. While naked in bed. This is the weirdest relationship trajectory ever. Worth it, though. Definitely worth it. She snuggled back against him. Though we should probably talk about the logistics tomorrow. My moving in, how we handle work, what we tell people. Tomorrow, Kai agreed, already drifting towards sleep. Tonight, let's just be us. Just us. Maya echoed. I like the sound of that. They fell asleep tangled together, the city lights painting shadows across the ceiling. And for the first time in longer than he could remember, Kai Langford felt completely at peace. He'd spent years building an empire. Now he was building something even more valuable, a life worth living, with someone worth living it for. Epilogue. 6 months later. The elevator doors open on the ground floor of Langford Technologies, and Maya Santos Langford, still getting used to that name, stepped out with her travel mug of coffee and her work bag. She was running late, as usual, though now she had the excuse of her husband making her breakfast and refusing to let her leave without kissing her goodbye at least 3 times. Her husband, still surreal. They got married 3 months ago in a small ceremony at Kai's Westchester estate, with just family and close friends. No press, no publicity, just them promising to love each other despite the crazy circumstances that had brought them together. Maya headed toward the elevator bank, but not the one going up. She was taking the ground floor route today. Needed to drop off some paperwork at HR before her shift started. Maya, wait up. She turned to see Jennifer Chun, no relation to the disgraced former SOO, jogging toward her. Jennifer worked in marketing and had become one of Maya's closest friends at the company. Morning. How was the honeymoon part 2? Jennifer asked, grinning. Kai had insisted on a second honeymoon, since the first one had been cut short by a business emergency. Amazing. Kai actually left his phone in the hotel room for an entire day. It was like watching someone go through withdrawal, but he survived. Character growth. I'm proud of him. They walked together toward HR. Hey, did you see the article in Forbes? Kai Langford's transformation. How love changed the face of tech. Maya groaned. Please tell me they didn't include that photo from the charity gala where I tripped over my dress. They did, but they also talked about all the new policies Kai's implemented. Workplace wellness programs, mental health support, better work-life balance initiatives. Apparently, being in love made him realize his employees are humans who need breaks. He's trying really hard, Maya said. Some days I come home and find him attempting to cook dinner. Last week, he almost burned down the kitchen making pasta. But he's trying. They reached HR, where Maya dropped off her paperwork. As she headed back toward the elevators, she checked her phone. A text from Kai. Miss you already? Lunch together? She smiled, typing back. Only if we eat in the cafeteria with everyone else. No hiding in your office. His response. Fine, but I'm holding your hand the entire time, and I don't care who sees. Deal. Love you. Love you more. Now go save lives. I'll just be up here moving money around and pretending it's as important as what you do. Maya laughed, pocketing her phone. The elevator arrived, and she stepped in, remembering that morning 6 months ago when she'd run to this very lobby, desperate to catch a ride up to her interview. She'd walked into the wrong elevator, met the wrong man. Except he'd turned out to be exactly the right man, just not in any way she'd expected. Life was funny like that. You could plan everything perfectly and still end up somewhere completely different. Somewhere better. The elevator doors closed, carrying Maya up toward the employee health clinic, toward her patients and her work and the life she was building. In a few hours, she'd have lunch with her husband in the cafeteria, where employees no longer stared in shock, but just smiled and waved. Later, she'd go home to their apartment. Kai had insisted they buy a place that felt more them than a sterile penthouse, so now they lived in a renovated loft with actual color and plants, still frequently murdered, and photos of their life together. It wasn't perfect. Kai still worked too much. Maya still sometimes felt overwhelmed by the wealth and attention. They argued about his tendency to solve every problem with money, her habit of taking on too much responsibility. But it was real. It was theirs. And it had all started with a coffee-stained sprint and an elevator held by a man who'd forgotten how to be human. Maya smiled as she reached her floor, stepping out into the familiar hallway. Her phone buzzed one more time. Kai. By the way, Marta wants to know if we're free for dinner Friday. She's apparently been making PowerPoints about our relationship and wants to present her findings. Maya. She made PowerPoints about us? Kai. Multiple. With charts. She's very proud of her work. Maya. Of course she did. Tell her yes. I want to see these charts. Kai, you're going to regret that. Maya, probably, but I regret nothing else. See you at lunch, Mr. Langford. Kai, counting down the minutes, Mrs. Langford. Maya pocketed her phone and headed into the clinic, ready to start her day, ready for whatever came next, because she knew that no matter what challenges they faced, they'd face them together. All because she'd run for an elevator and a cold CO had decided to hold the doors. Sometimes the wrong elevator is exactly where you need to be. The end.